So I'm talking with Tom Lavis, the Chief Exec of YMCA Plymouth, and as part of our commitment on Cross Rhythms Community Radio to One Earth Week, I just want to ask you, Tom, you do an awful lot as the YMCA Plymouth. We've covered that off in a much wider ranging interview, but I know you've got a specific interest and a lot of work going on around environmental things and things that are just being better for that whole green agenda without making it the be-all and end-all of life. You've got some substantial stuff going on. Tell us a bit about the vegetables. I want to know about, I've tried growing some veg, and your lot have done a lot better than I did.
I'm very fortunate of our lot. The Y growers, they're fabulous. I mean, it's part of the building a greener YMCA. I must have used the word community in this interview about 1,000 times already, so you know where how focused I am.
For folks who've just joined us, that was in a Community Matters interview. It was very wide-ranging on the community story, but go on.
So I think if you're going to be a true community organisation and you're working with young people, then you need to ensure that you're focused on the future and those young people and their future. So it doesn't take a genius to go, we should be massively behind the green agenda and do everything we can within financial means, because we're not a wealthy organisation, we're far from it, to improve the environment so that we're around for a long time to come and that the future generations still benefit. So it could be anything. We've done small things like, I don't know, changing our refuse to zero to landfill, for example, increasing insulation within the building. It's a 1970s building, and sadly they didn't do things probably as well as they should have, certainly not to modern day standards. So just things like that. We've introduced e-bikes and e-charge points as part of a council grant. We also did very well with regards to a grant for solar PV energy. So we have about £50,000 worth of solar panels on our sports hall now. So you can imagine that's made a huge difference to our energy usage. LED lights, when you get to the stage where you're replacing a bulb, change it, move to LEDs. Cost savings huge long term there. And a shout out to Steve Warren Brown and his Societary team, because they planted a Miyawaki forest, or as he likes to call it, a My Wacky forest. We have about 600 trees planted on our site, courtesy of Societary. And then I'll get to the vegetables. How about that?
Because I know, I tell you, for a real, because you've got a real outcome in the lives of the community around you as well, in terms of provision from there.
Yeah, so our community garden started in the middle of COVID, in actual fact, because if you are not fortunate to have your own garden, you live in a block of flats, would be a great example, and you're being told by the government, you can get outside for half an hour a day to get some fresh air and fresh spaces. We wanted to provide an area for our local community to drop in and feel like there's someone there could go and belong and be outside. And so it started off as just a garden, and then bit by bit, volunteer by volunteer, and we've already mentioned how important it is to volunteer. It's got bigger and bigger, and then we started growing some fruit and veg, and then all of a sudden we've got an allotment, a greenhouse, polytunnel, sheds, and we've produced 1,800 meals in the last 12 months that we've given away for free in partnership with Provide Devon, who distribute the food on our behalf.
They're going to be on the radio in the next couple of weeks.
Well, again, another fabulous organisation, and I always say, I believe in collaboration, not competition when it comes to charities. There's a great example of how two charities come together, and they always tell me that yes, they do get a lot of donations from supermarkets and they're very grateful, but the fresh produce is often ropey by the time they get it. Whereas for us, we've dug it out of the ground that morning and they're delivering it that afternoon. It can't get much fresher than that. So it's just a lovely cycle of benefiting our local community, particularly helping tackle some of the food insecurities that we're facing at the moment, probably now more than ever. I know it's always been around, but the cost of living crisis has exacerbated that problem, hasn't it?
Yep.
And then as a result, we have won some awards. We've got our Green Tourism Award. We made a plastic-free pledge. So these are minor tweaks where you actually just change what you're using. It's having a huge impact. And when you're a centre that serves 18,000 people a year now, as simple as a plastic straw, well, you've reduced that by 18,000 without doing much, haven't you?
Yep.
And we've been given the benchmark of net zero, future net zero organisation, because we are working towards that level, as all businesses should be. But it's not all about spending huge amounts of money to do it.
I like that, and I like particularly it's those little choices. You've made those as a big organisation, but they're the kind of choices individuals can make towards just looking after this planet a little bit better.
Yeah, and sometimes they're really small tweaks in your way of doing things, and they can make a huge difference.
That's great. Tom Lavis, Chief Exec of YMCA Plymouth, thank you ever so much. That's another contribution to our Earth Week. And not just the week, every week of the year and every year of the next million. Let's hope we got all of those years on the planet without blowing the thing up. But anyway, there you go. This is Cross Rhythms you're listening to, and we'll catch you next time on the show.